Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Past Life, Present Power with Derek Jameson. In this episode, we meet with advanced Akashic Records reader Tiensirin. She tells us about her past lives, and some of which involve me, so that's going to be very interesting for you guys to hear. She talks about how it has helped her career, what the importance of seeing our past lives does for us, and she gives us a lot of wisdom in the moment from the Akashic Records just for you. So get ready for those downloads, and we will see you then. Hi, Tien. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Derek. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm very excited to do this with you today. We had a lot of stuff that came forward in your past life regression. So I'm excited that you wanted to share that with everyone else because I do know that it is wisdom that is to share with everyone else. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. So excited.
Amazing. Well, I do want to start off with you telling people about yourself, who you are, what you do, where you're from, so on and so forth. So I'll let you take it away.
Well, my name is Tien, short for Tiensirin. I am a certified advanced level Akashic record readers. I was born and raised in Thailand. My father, I had a privilege to choose my father as my father in this lifetime, and he is a second generation. No, go back. I'm the second generation like psychic medium, and he is one himself. So he has an ability to do physical healing. That his gift and his intuitive gift in terms of like sensing the spirit and all of that. And I came to the US when I was 15, and I always had these gifts of ability to see things, feel things energetically. But when I was growing up, I didn't quite know how to navigate it. So it's turned into a sort of fear and anxiety, actually. And what really helped me in my teen year was I start to study on my own numerology and tarot card and astrology as a way to make sense of the world, make sense of who I am, make sense of the energy that I'm carrying. And fast forward a bit, I came here to the US. I was an exchange student. I went to college. I studied art, photography, and sculpture, and specifically. And I spent 15 years in the entertainment industry as a photo publicist. And I really loved it. I have done many things that I'm really proud of. I have worked on shows like Breaking Bad and Outlanders and edit photo at all the really big events in the entertainment industry like Oscar, SAG Award, and I love that. And then I got to the point probably in 2012 where I started to curious about my spiritual journey. I'm start to kind of wanting to return to it because I was kind of running away from it for a while. And that's when I started diving into like astrology again. And what was really powerful is that in 2014, I discovered Akashic Records. Kind of stumbled upon it actually. Um, I was at a point in my life that there were a lot of difficulty that coming up. I was like walking away from a marriage that wasn't healthy. I was feeling discriminated in workplace. There was just a lot of soul searching space in my life. And then a neighbor of mine said that, oh, there's a mystical store near you. You should go check it out. I'm like, okay. So I went online out of curiosity, and I saw online that, oh, learn how to read Akashic records. And I'm sorry, what is Akashic record? What is it? But something in my heart, unexplainably so, say that learn how to do that. And I did. And it's been amazing and life-changing ever since.
And that's what you do for other people. Why would you want to, like, what, for those people that don't understand what the Akashic Records are at this point, like, why would you want to read the Akashic Records and how do you help people with it?
Akash Great question, Derek. Akashic record essentially is a information of your soul from many lifetime, many dimension, and all aspects of it. And I'm a firm believer that when you be able to understand certain thing subconsciously and you can bring certain layer of it to the conscious level, it's kind of all of a sudden you have a map that you can see and you can navigate, that you can accept part of yourself that you needed to see in order for you to activate the power, acceptance, um, and grace for yourself. And it's kind of what I love about Akashic record is that ability for you to see it all and ability to help yourself navigate life with less judgment, with less resistance, and with less fear.
That's
Because
amazing.
in all of lifetime, we have done things that in our current consciousness in humanity, we may judge ourselves and seeing it, oh, that was bad, that was dark, that was evil. But at the end of the day, as human, we do the best we could in the condition that we're in. And in what way? Through Akashic record, to see all aspects of ourselves and be able to accept it, love on it, and be able to lean into the power of creativity and use all of those information to generate a new reality for yourself now with precision, with dedication, with intention.
You talk about, tapping into the soul's history and the different levels of that, and being able to go in as a healing modality and curiosity. And so when you look at what we're talking about today, which is past lives and past life connection, what drew you to have wanting a past life? Your awareness and your work within the Akashic records. What kind of energy within that drew you to having a past life regression? I mean, you had one before you had one with me, but what drew you within that time? What's different?
Uh, I just love that I believe in more is marvelous. And I just really enjoy the processing of being immersed and submerged into the experience. Um, when you receive reading with Akashic record, it is energetic, it is cerebral. You can hear it, you can understand it, you can imagine along. But when you do a past life regression, is you get to break through your resistance, and you get to break through some of the things that keeping you safe, quote unquote, keeping you safe. Because as human, we want to feel safe, and sometimes certain defense mechanism is stopping us from going deeper. And when you, with the right practitioner in past life regression, you can tap into something that you kind of almost have an inkling about, but you don't quite know what it is. And then with past life regression is allow you to travel to those places and see it as if you were watching a movie, or you literally feel it, like being in that energetic field. And from my experience, sometimes I would sign up for certain past life regression when I know in my heart that I want something that is more visceral, more vivid. And and then I will just tap into it, and it will become something, something really quite beautiful, because you can no longer running away from it. And you have to face all part of you, like the part of you that scary, or the part of you that is powerful. And I have come to experience that in my own life, the part that's scary is not as difficult for me to accept, but the part that difficult is the part that when I was powerful. And you and I have spoken about this. I asked you, like, why is it certain past life is hard for me to accept or like embody? And then you said responsibility. And that's something that I come to see, I come to experience, and also worth. If you work with issue of worth,
Mhm.
then certain part that seem like, wow, was I really that person? And to not be able to accept that is because of the worth issue.
So when you came to have a past life regression with me, what was it that drew you then? What was going on in your life that you wanted more? What was breaking through? Let's say that, because we know that when we're drawn to do something, there is a healing or a breaking through or a letting go of the past. There's a whole gateway that's taking place. What
Mm.
was going on with you that you feel comfortable sharing, or what drew you at the time that you feel like you were breaking through with?
Okay, so it's a two-parters because before I had a session with you, I had another session with somebody else before, and that when I was discover my past life in Egypt, it was sprung from like me connecting with a person that I know in my heart. I'm saying, there's a story to this, and I must know this now before I get into this particular relationship. And when I had a session with that particular practitioner, I discovered my past life in Egypt as a priestess of thought. And that kind of opened a wonderful, marvelous can of worms. And then when I was exploring a session with you, I have not done the modality that you practice, which is through Doris Cannon.
Mhm.
And so that's our curiosity. And also, you and I have spent a good amount of time on Clubhouse together. And I just like, you know what? I want to connect to this. I want to go deeper into whatever may come up through this experience with this modality. And that's how I tap into it. And then when I was had a session with you, there were things that coming up that were just like otherworldly. And I believe that is because of our personal connection in many past life that we had together.
So speaking of that, the first experience or memory that you were tapping into was one of exploring. I'm gonna let you talk about it, but one of exploring where I was involved with that experience. So what I believe that particular I mean they're all important, but that one also has to do with the energy that's awakening right now within people. So tell us a little bit about what that life was and what you gather from it.
Oh, it's a really interesting one because it was so unexpected. So it was the past life that you, me, and a best friend of mine in this lifetime, we were explorer. But we not just a regular old explorer. We were someone who trying in that process to retrieve certain ancient tablets that have certain information in it. And there's an energy within that past life regression that there was an urgency to it. There was something of a race that we need to get to this tablet before somebody else can use it to manipulate and control people. Talking about it's going to get me a little emotional. And I remember that there was some kind of a cave that we had to dive into where this particular tablet with ancient writing, and there's a name for it. It's I think you and I talk about it. Oh, I could not remember the technical name for it, but it's a particular writing that come from the ancient Mesopotamian time. So you and I and a partner in crime, my best friend, went into this cave and we were gonna retrieve it. We saw it, but then there was a groups of people that not only they in power politically and governmentally, they also in power religiously, as well as they connecting to another being. It's kind of almost the way I see in a record is that they transform themselves into human in some way. It's interesting. So they got the tablet instead of us. And I remember that you die, my best friend died in that past life. And in the past life, in that moment, I saw a crack on the earth, and I saw this beautiful golden light that coming up at the top. And I remember I was upset, I was crying, and I heard a voice vividly that coming through that golden light saying that, don't you worry, the code and the information is already within each and everyone's heart. All humanity need to do is connect to the heart, connect to the power within, and that can be activated. It doesn't matter if anyone try to control you or manipulate you. If you connect to authenticity of your heart, that will lead the way. And that brought me comfort, because I feel that in some way I fail to do the mission that I was trying to accomplish. And this is also true with you and I. We also had other past life in Atlantean time. It seemed that you and I seem to always come at a kind of almost a intersection of a time, a shift, a chain of sorts. And in what way that I have to remind myself every day that everyone had the key, and I'm here to help them activate that key within themselves.
Now you bring up another really good point that you brought up about your own, what you held on to about that experience. So whenever we talk about past lives, it's always multidimensional. There's always many aspects and many reasons why that's coming forward, why it happened, and many timelines that it affects. So when you're talking about that and you're bringing forward this beautiful message for everyone, understanding that the knowledge and the wisdom, it lives within, and that they can tap into it.
Right.
You also brought forward this energy of responsibility and feeling like you were responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And still holding on, and we could all hear it within your voice and the way you just brought that forward, that there's a part of you that does hold on to that, that energy, that emotional energy. And so even having access to that information and seeing that past life was also reflecting to you what energy and emotion you still hold on to about feeling like you couldn't nurture or take care or protect.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a past life regression like that, not only do you get the information of what your purpose is, but you're also reflected back to yourself what is asking to be healed, which
Right.
is that sense of like, I did what I could. There's nothing more. I don't have to take responsibility for something I couldn't control. So it's really cool that you just brought this whole story forward, and then we see the part of you that it's
Mm-hmm.
healing within
Yeah,
that.
for sure. Yeah. An ability to, I mean, even to listen to that, reflect on that story again is bring me healing.
Yeah.
To know that, we did the best you could. We did the best we could, and things will unfold the way it should be. It's part of human evolution, and in what way we can trust that all will sort itself out in its own divine timing.
And when we do see these past lives, and this is a really good example of it, it's like, yeah, we see them for us and what explains our records and what our signatures and what we're meant to do. But this was a really good point that you made it all about humanity, that your past life and your understanding and healing of it actually is for everyone else. And when people have a past life regression and they're being reflected back their own power or what needs to be healed within them, things that they need to see at the time, people think they can think it's just for them and they need to see it for their life experience. But what's really happening is an activation for all. Because once you
Absolutely.
stand in your power, you know your soul's history, you trust yourself, literally every single entity in the universe benefits from that power, that activation.
Absolutely. Because we
So
are all
it's so
connected.
cool.
Yeah.
It's
Because
so
we are all
cool.
connected. Thank you.
And that's why I think it was important that you talk about that, because your regression, sure, it brings aspects of the things that you needed to look at or heal, but really it was like, I had this strong sense of like, this is meant to be shared, which is why we're sitting here today.
Absolutely. Sitting here together again.
Sitting here together again with microphones in our faces. Well, I would love to hear more of your past lives. What other of the experiences that you had stood out for you that you want to share, that you think is important for you and or other people? Whatever you want to bring forward about your experience is really up to you. So I'll let you take it away.
I will bring up the experience. I'll bring up about our regression. I mean, I have other regression, but the one that popped to my mind that is, I think, is interesting and people can reflect on that. So I had an experience where I wasn't a human. And the thing is, oftentimes people think that, oh, past life is like you, another form, another human form. Not always. Sometimes you can actually be a being, a spirit before you become a human, before you choose to become a human in Akashic perspective, in Akashic record perspective, all that we existing right now in this world, we chose it. Even some of the most difficult time, we chose it not because we want to be masochistic, but it's because if we can come to love and accept the difficulty or the difficult people in our life in some level or way, there's a healing and power underneath it, and which will liberate you from multidimensional. So the past life I want to talk about is the past life where, again, I connect with Derek. I saw this image of I was on top of the pyramid, and I saw Anubis, which is in ancient Egypt, is the god of the underworld, the god who assists you to cross over to another dimension. And then I saw Thoth, and I saw a lot of them, like not only one or two, I saw like 4 Thoth and then 4 Anubis. And then I start to see the image of people walking kind of in ritualistic form coming toward the pyramid. And at the time, I just see myself kind of bird eye views looking down. And then I remember that you were asking me who that was and walking toward the pyramids, and I say that it was you as a virgin sacrifice. And I remember in that regression, I said, don't be afraid, it will be over soon. And I recall that I remember a little bit, because when you're in the regression, you're not completely blacked out. You still like in your body, you still know where you at. I can hear a little tinge in your voice over there, a little bit. And but Derek was so great at just like remain composed, and then he carry on, he asked more question. But what I reflect through that time period is that, oftentimes we can look at the ancient thing and say, oh my God, human sacrifice is awful, or animal sacrifice is awful. But it was what it was at that time,
Mhm.
and what I really love about that experience was the fact that you were not afraid. Like sure, there was a tinge of fear that I saw, but to see that even through the darkest time in our life, there are always someone that is there for you to honor your mission, to honor your purpose in that lifetime. Like for you in that lifetime, you were a virgin sacrifice, and it was the highest honor in that particular timeline. And even though it was scary, and even though it was just me seemingly frightening, there was a spirit that, come here to assist you. So what I'm trying to convey is that doesn't matter what you're going through right now in your life, doesn't matter how dark and difficult it is. Each and every one of you has someone that is connecting with you and assisting you and there to support you. All we need is to connect again to our hearts, not listen to our brain, and just connect to our hearts and tap into that connection with those that are here to support you.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's why I was excited about this, was because yours had a lot of messages that are for everyone. And even if it involves me on a past life experience, it's because of the same reason that my signature is here to be of service in whatever way and activate and step into that space. So it's really cool that you're showing what the underlying messages for people that they need to know and or understand. And I love it so much, and I love that you bring up a point that not always are people going to see themselves as a physical being, meaning like matter or a human or even an animal. People can they understand because they think spirit animals, and I think I was this in one lifetime.
Yeah.
But when it comes to other elements, I had a regression last week or a few days ago where he had to see himself as the element of air. And
Mhm.
he experienced that one more viscerally than all the others, like completely feeling it. And you make a good point. It's like we have to understand these base elements that comprise a reality in order to densify and solidify and be able to work with those elements. It has to be a part of us for us to experience it.
Absolutely. It's
So
kind of
it's
almost
cool.
all of a sudden like you have this build of image and see that you have this toolbox that is in like your tool, and you cannot really quite, that there's something in there, but you're not really quite see it or grasp it. But I feel that past life regression help you like, oh yes, of course why I drawn to Egypt. Of course why I drawn to this is it solidify it, it's crystallize it, it make it become more magnetic in that way. It's kind of almost like as if the electromagnetic field in yourself is being activated by your consciousness understanding and accepting it.
Why do you think that you saw, let's say, your best friend and as well as me in a past life experience or memory? It happens often for people where they see people that they know or in this lifetime, because you have other ancient Egyptian where your father is also in that one as well.
Right.
And why do you think we see these people who are in our life right now that reflect that other lifetime that we were living? Why would we see that, or what's the importance of that?
To appreciate them,
Mm.
to appreciate them, to heal any rifts or anything that come up in order for you to be able to be in harmonious with each other. Because I do believe that we are all connected and there's an energetic circuitry that run through between people. And when there's a disharmony in it, it doesn't mean, and when I say disharmony, it doesn't mean that you have to get along with everyone or you have to become best friend with everyone, but in what way that you can accept them as they are. And then, and when you can do that, the energetic circuitry can be circulate fully. You meet people again, or you see people again in this lifetime. Let's say the good ones are great, right? The good one is like, yay, we meet again, this is awesome. But in what way can we navigate the one that were difficult? And sometimes we see it again to be able to see like, oh, okay, so we meet again because we have something that we need to come to accept, to forgive, to see that maybe in some way this person may be difficult in your life in this lifetime. You may have been the perpetrator of the same thing to them, or sometimes people repeating the exact same thing in exact same thing. Like it doesn't because people oftentimes think of karma as if like, oh, you done something bad to them, so now you get this is a payback. Not at all. Sometimes it can be the same energetic frequency, a power struggle, but in what way that you can come into this lifetime again and unking the host a little bit even more in order to take the power and autonomy back to yourself and give the power and autonomy back to them.
Mhm.
So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, I mean, yes, completely. Because people don't understand, like, if they're seeing, people that haven't had a regression or before, they don't fully understand that these relationships that they have in this lifetime, the ones that are really challenging them, are simply reflecting back to them what wants to be worked with or healed. Anytime there is a surfacing of darkness or energy within us, a shadow
Oh yeah,
experience, it is simply it's reflecting something back to us that's ready to be seen, ready to
exactly.
be healed. And the reason why that these negative occurrences, or what are seen as negative occurrences or shadow aspects, continue and they feel like they never end, is because they don't work with it and see it as it's the healing of it taking place at the same time. They keep seeing, this is happening to me. And they're
Exactly.
really being shown, like, hey, if you can't recognize your own power within this, that you're the one in power, we're going to keep this up
Yeah,
until you see it. Well, we are, meaning we ourselves
yeah,
are creating
exactly.
the reality.
Yeah, because I at ourselves in a highest form came here on this earth to liberate ourselves, to be able to love ourselves unconditionally. And what I see is that with our desire, the energetic resistance to go into the part that we don't like, the part that, oh, the anger, depression, sadness, and all that we don't want to go there, is create kind of compression of energy. It's like it just keep like coming at you and coming at you and coming at you until you allow it to flow through you. And this is where it creates a full circuitry of energy instead of it's being stopped. So and then I see each lifetime I see people like get better and better at unking those whole and unking those energy, and that's what we are here to do. And through as we release more of those kinks, we are able to generate the power that it lie beneath shame, guilt, and fear, for it to come up and blossom and elevate it and release through you.
So speaking of the release, next level of allowing things in, as you allow yourself to see past life energies that might not be the highest and best, while you're experiencing them, how does that help you? How does seeing a positive past life or a negative past life and everything in between, how does it help you? And I mean you specifically. What has it done for you in your life, in career, in relationships, how you navigate your everything? Like, how does that serve you?
Ooh, that's a great question. Especially the part that I felt that in my past life I betray myself. And when I say I betray myself, meaning that I act out of fear. Like let's say that I end up marry someone for the sake of keeping my family safe, aka keeping me safe, or in what way where I betray myself, where I look the other way, where my husband in my past life were doing some awful rituals, and in what way that I meet these people again in this lifetime to speak up, to stand up, or sometimes even leave the situation that is not healthy for me. And that's when my soul get to bring the power back to me instead of giving it to them or giving it to circumstances. And I think oftentimes when I say about betraying myself, and when I'm reflecting on this a lot lately. Betraying myself, in my perspective, is about in what way you betray the power that God created in human being. In what way that I say that, oh, I'm just gonna not believe that there are no better ways, so I'm gonna take crumbs in my life. And in what way that I can have a standard going forward in this lifetime. I said, this is what in the frequency of what I feel that I was created from. And when we betray ourselves, we go against the belief of that highest frequency. We choose to do the thing that is easier in our mind or is safer. And I'm saying this not in any what way is a judgment at all, because I still believe that we all do the best that we could in the condition that we're in. But it also helped me pause to think about, is there other possibility than the easier way out? Or is there other possibility that I doing it because I lost hope? In what way I betray my love, in what way I betray love for myself. So I think that
Yeah.
how I feel, how I see it, and how it helped in my career too. In terms of in my career as I just talk about my career as a photo publicist. If I were to believe in the matrix, oh, you came from another country, your English is not perfect. And there are people that actually say that to me, or say that, oh, you cannot be in the entertainment industry of X, Y, and Z. I just put that aside and said, you know what, this is what I want. I just lean into a childlike energy. And this is so important for everyone to hear. We in a new moon in Leo energy is all about lean into that childlike energy, to be playful, to be curious. And I just went after it because I loved it. And I went as far as I wanted to in that entertainment industry. And I still love it. I still do it on the side, on my kind of passion project thing, but it's not working for the corporate setting. But the key to everything in life, I feel that is just to lead into curiosity and playfulness, and ability to not try to control everything, and ability to trust and allow the beauty to reveal.
I was going to ask you, I'm like, what kind of message do you have for everybody today? But I feel like that was like the powerful message. I don't even need to ask. Maybe I was sending it telepathically
Yeah,
to you,
telepathically, like.
and it like came through no matter what. But I mean,
Yeah.
on top of that, if there's anything that you do want to give to people through your experiences of past lives, Akashic Records, and the wisdom that you've come to realize for yourself and rediscovering all the power that you just explained to us, how can everyone else be able to expand on their own abilities and powers and tap into this level of intuition and groundedness and trust?
One thing that I know for facts that I feel that is true for me is that if you can come to term, if you can become at peace with your past life, whether that past life, I'm talking about past life that is 10,000s of years, or past life as your childhood, when you become at ease with it and not fall into a victim mentality, and know that you have the power now to create a new reality, when you can heal those past timeline. And when I say heal, it's really mean about accepting and love all part of you. The part of you that you feel is unlovable, the part of you that is hurting, be able to nurture it and loving on it, it will activate the power now. So when you look into your past life and see certain part of you, and to really see it and still loving and accept on it and give grace to it, just as your own childhood, be able to love and give grace to it, to those around you too, that maybe have caused you dis-ease. This is where the power can be activated in the now. So I find past life regression or even Akashic Records such a powerful way for you to tap into your multi-dimensional self, because we are literally living the multiple timeline in this now moment. All of it. We come here and we meeting people in these people that we get to meet. It doesn't come from particular timeline. We have several timelines with them, and we connecting in this moment to heal, to love, to empower, to give love and grace to each other in this very now moment.
Oh, I should just take this microphone and just drop it.
It has a little cushion, so it goes.
I know. I'm all padded mic drop on that one. I don't even need to say anything more. That was incredible. I love that message. I can't wait for people to hear that message. And I mean, this was a full download as I knew it would be for people, and activation for people. So I'm so excited for people to hear it. You know, some people can find you. There's links that I'm going to put down below, but how can they find you and learn more about you?
Yes, so they can find me on my website, which is www.tiensirin.com, or Instagram @_Tiensirin_. And yeah, I'm excited for, whoever interested in exploring your Akashic record. I have my own unique way of going about it after 5, 6 years of experience and read over 1,000 Akashic record. I mean, even wow, to even say that out loud. So through those experience, everyone guys kind of give me direction of how to go about it. So it's a combination of receiving information and me assisting you in tapping into your own energetic frequency in your Akashic records. A little bit of inner child healing, shamanism, and my form of like past life regression, but it's different than it's just different way of going about it, and to be able to heal and then bring all those power back to you in the now time.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. We thank everybody for listening and being a part of this transmission. I cannot wait to see how it activates people. Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Such a pleasure, Derek. Have a beautiful day.
You too.